Well, clearly Christopher Nolan's best movie is Tenet. We've all seen it. Wait, what are you telling me? Oh, it's been delayed. Oh, that was Inception? Oh. Okay. What's going on, you guys? James here with another tier list video. I am ranking Christopher Nolan's movies from top to bottom, the worst being clearly The Dark Knight. But hey, you guys asked for me to do this. I ran a poll and you all said, or at least the majority of you said, do Christopher Nolan movies, man. So I'm excited to just dive into his filmography. Yes, we're including Following, his debut feature-length film that I just watched for the first time yesterday. So I'm super excited to just go ahead and place all these movies because they're all so darn good, which makes this very difficult. Now, before I get started, if it's your first time here at the channel, welcome to Real James. If you like movies and TV, go ahead and hit the big red button below and get subscribed to the channel so you don't miss out on anything new. Tap on that bell as well because, guys, it's gonna get really busy over the next couple of weeks. I got my Umbrella Academy Season 2 review dropping July 27th, and I'm super excited to dive into that. And if you missed it, I just dropped my review for Season 1. Yeah, I just watched it for the first time last week. And if you missed it, I got reviews up for Palm Springs, Greyhound, and even The Old Guard on Netflix. So hey, it has been so busy, and I'm grateful for all your support because we're close to 2,000 subscribers. Now, if you haven't already, go ahead and smash that like button below because it does a ton to help the video, and go ahead and get loud in the comments below and let me know what your ranking looks like. What's at your number one and what's all the way at the bottom for your Christopher Nolan ranking. I'm super excited to dive into this, guys. I started the tier list stuff with Avatar, ranking all the characters. That was a long video. This one might not be as long, but at least we're gonna get into some really good movies. Alrighty, so let's get started. Alrighty guys, so if you're unfamiliar with how these tier lists work, there's literally the top tier, which is usually S, or you can kind of designate them as you wish. I have the best, then great, good, decent, and meh. Yeah, it's probably maybe one film that's meh. I don't know. It's Christopher Nolan. His meh film is probably somebody's great film. So hey, I'm really excited to just get into all these films. We'll dive into a little bit of the background if you're unfamiliar, because some of you might not have even seen his first film, which is Following. So I'm super excited, and maybe we'll start right there. Following was his first feature-length movie after making a couple of short films. It debuted in 1998. It stars Jeremy Theobald, Alex Haw, and Lucy Russell. It's not one of his best works, but even then I still liked it enough to give it that like B- grade. It's very much methodical, and you can see that he's becoming slowly but surely that Memento director. Plays with time and space. I like how it kind of has events in order and out of order. It's just a pretty darn good first attempt at making a feature-length film, and it's shot entirely in black and white, which is really neat. However, I don't necessarily think it's among his best. Now, that being said, I don't still think it's a meh film, if that makes sense. I actually think it's more so decent. And I'm not gonna lie, guys, this can always change as I go through, but I'm gonna say right now, I'm gonna throw it in the decent category because Following is still a film that'll grip you, and it actually gets better as it goes along. Man, it was actually, it was so interesting to just see his humble beginnings, because now that he's putting a freaking airplane into a building in Tenet, it just shows you how he's grown, right? Okay, so let's move on to Memento, which is, when I first saw that movie, guys, my mind was blown because I'd never seen a movie like that before. Memento was released a couple of years after Following in 2000, and it stars one of the best to do it, Guy Pearce. It even has Joe Pantoliano in a really cool role, and the movie, again, time and space. It plays with unchronological order, if that is even a word, and it is so effective, and the storytelling is gripping, and you can just tell this was the start of something special. Following gave you sprinkles of it, but then there were some issues with character development, and then you weren't always sold into the story. But in Memento, from start to finish, I was hooked. I didn't even look at my flip phone. I didn't do anything. I was just totally locked in. So where are we gonna put Memento? I'm gonna say it's gonna go into the great category. I was struggling between great and good, but I'm not gonna lie, guys, again, that might change. I still think Memento is a great film. Now, against his other bodies of work, it might just be good, but let's go down the list. Next up is Insomnia, which released in 2002. I mean, like, Nolan did not stop working. It was 2 years, 3 years. You're just putting out a new film every couple of years. It's insane. Insomnia stars Hilary Swank, Al Pacino, and Robin Williams. You know what's kind of cool about this movie is that I had no idea it existed. I really didn't before I was preparing for this video, and I watched it on HBO Max, and I'm kind of glad I did because it showed how Christopher Nolan can work with some of these huge actors I had no idea he had any business with. I mean, Robin Williams, Al Pacino, both of those guys are legends. Rest in peace, Robin Williams. But yeah, Insomnia is a cool crime drama. It is not always very effective, and I do think that it has issues with pacing. Sometimes the story is literally just not interesting, and while Al Pacino's performance is great, I do think Hilary Swank gives a better performance because she has to be kind of calculated, and you see her character grow in confidence over the course of the film. So I'm not gonna lie, Insomnia, it is a fine film, but it's going in the good category, y'all. And I can't say it's a terrible movie, but it's honestly just okay. It's definitely not meh, but it is okay, you know? So Insomnia gets a good tier. Does that even make sense? I'll have to work on that phrasing. Alright, so we're going to move on to the next film down the list, which is 2005's Batman Begins, the start of something absolutely legendary. I'm going to give you a little childhood story here. So my neighbor actually had a surround sound system that was unreal. It wasn't necessarily 5.1, but it sounded loud. So everything that sounded loud was surround sound to me as a child, and I would always hear the movie kind of like outside of their house. I'd be playing ball in the front of the house and I would hear their bass booming. So one day we had dinner over there and I asked what movie was he watching the previous day. He said it's a Batman film, and I was like, what the heck? Alrighty, I'm used to the animated Batman movies. So I sat down, and that scarecrow scene traumatized me. Yep, totally awful. Don't even know why I stopped to watch that movie. Just kidding. It's a great film. It really is. Well, I say great, but I mean it is a great Batman movie. I don't necessarily think it's one of Nolan's best because it is a little bit slower. The Dark Knight, for example, is much faster in terms of its pacing, and it gives you a lot more action, but Batman Begins gave us Christian Bale as Bruce Wayne, and I think he is probably one of the best Bruce Waynes. I do still think Ben Affleck is the best Batman / Bruce Wayne, but if you're just looking at Bruce Waynes in general, I do think Christian Bale is the best Bruce Wayne, if that makes sense, but I don't like his Batman as much as Affleck's. So, Batman Begins, where are we putting it, guys? Y'all gotta let me know in the comments where would you put these movies to. I'm excited to hear what y'all think. Batman Begins is gonna go good. I say good because you gotta look at Dark Knight, man. Dark Knight set a bar, right? So if you're gonna put Dark Knight up there, you have to have Batman Begins trailing it because it is not the best of the Nolan Batman movies. So let's go ahead and move on to The Prestige, the movie that was done in between The Dark Knight. I mean, think about that, guys. Christopher Nolan is such a hard worker to the point where he'll make Batman Begins, and then in between he's like, why not do a movie with Hugh Jackman? Whatever. Such a freaking fine film too. The Prestige does star Hugh Jackman, like I said, Christian Bale, and Scarlett Johansson, so that trio alone is just like, you're locked in. Like, I want to watch this movie right now. I haven't seen The Prestige in a while, but when I did see The Prestige, it is a film that does play with your mind, and you're going to want to go in cold. If you haven't seen it already, I do recommend it. It's playing with magic, like literally a magician if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, I definitely think it's oh man, it is. I don't want to say too much more about it because I don't want to spoil anything, but The Prestige is a really good movie. I don't necessarily think it's as rewatchable as most people say it is. I think I'll revisit it eventually, maybe even before Tenet. I'll just marathon all his films again because I've seen his movies several times. But I'm going to put The Prestige in the good category. It's a very, very good film, but I don't necessarily think it breaks into the great or the best categories just yet. However, this next film, y'all see it. Y'all know what it is. It's time for the Joker and Batman to face off in The Dark Knight. Oh my goodness, y'all. 2008 was definitely a year that just kind of expanded my imagination when it comes to superhero movies. I'd never seen a superhero movie like this. I didn't even know Heath Ledger could pull off a Joker like this. I wasn't against Heath Ledger as the Joker, but I remember the buzz around him getting casted for the role. Everyone thought, this dude, pretty boy, the Joker, are you kidding me right now? And it worked out perfectly. He's the best Joker on screen. I definitely think he's one of the best villains on screen, and it's unfortunately the performance that killed him. So I love The Dark Knight so much. And you know where it's going. It's going in the meh category. No, totally kidding. It's going to go in the best. Come on now. The Dark Knight is one of those movies that is going to always live in my top 5 superhero films, like in general, not just MCU, not just DC, but superhero movies. And it's one of the best comic book films ever. It is just such a fine movie, and it transcended your traditional superhero / comic book film. Because if you don't remember, in 2008 is around the time when you started getting rumblings of, an MCU being built, Iron Man and all that. But The Dark Knight is just in a class of its own. It really is fantastic. That opening intro sequence always gets me in the bank. It is just so great. So The Dark Knight is in the best category. Alright, moving on now to 2010's Inception. 2 years after The Dark Knight, he puts out a movie with Leonardo DiCaprio, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Tom Hardy, Ellen Page, Marion Cotillard, and so many more actors and actresses. I mean, this is, golly, a memorable movie. It's one of my favorite Nolan movies, but it's also just so great at bending time and space. Like, I'm not even just talking about going in like an unorthodox like order of time. I mean, literally like bending things on screen. It broke technical barriers, and it left you with an ending that'll probably frustrate you as a viewer. I know where I fall and get it fall because the thing spins on the table and you don't know if it falls or not. Anyway, I know exactly where I land on that argument. But Inception, I saw it in theaters, saw it again at home, and I definitely want to rewatch it. I haven't seen that movie in years, but it's coming up on its 10th anniversary. I think this year is its 10th anniversary, and Inception it's just one of the best movies, man, that he's ever put out, and probably that I've ever seen. It's a great sci-fi movie. Some people don't like how expositional it is in dialogue, and sometimes characters are just there to move the plot along, like Ellen Page. But nah, dude, Inception is among his best, and it is in the best category. I will die on that hill, y'all. I love Inception so much, and now I just want to watch all these movies. What are y'all doing to me? Alright, what do we have next? Oh, The Dark Knight Rises. One of the only movies I bought a t-shirt of that has literally the movie poster on it. I don't even know if I have that t-shirt anymore. The Dark Knight Rises is a movie that frustrated the fan base. And I remember a lot of my friends not liking the film because they felt it was too basic compared to The Dark Knight. And they didn't like how Tom Hardy was used in the movie as Bane. And they just genuinely didn't like the ending. But can I be completely honest? I'm going to be transparent with you guys here. I actually really like this movie, and I think that the ending works. I don't agree with people saying that the ending doesn't work, because how else would you want Nolan to finish this? They teased Robin, I get it. They didn't really give too much closure with Christian Bale. I think they did a fine job, but I still think it's believable enough for it to be the last Christian Bale Batman movie. I think Anne Hathaway as Selina Kyle is really good. She's very menacing, and man, I don't know what it is about this film, but it felt like a good conclusion. Was it great? I don't necessarily think it was a great film, and I get why people might not like it, but I would just have to say I think I like it more than most. So The Dark Knight Rises, you're getting the good from me. Now mind you, I know I'm putting a lot of movies in the good category, but let me be honest. Again, Christopher Nolan's good movies are probably someone's best movie. We're moving on to Interstellar. Oh, this is a movie. This is a movie. Yes, it is. It's a movie that made people mad. It's a movie that a lot of people just don't like, I noticed. And I kind of don't understand why there's been this wave of hate that's kind of resurged for this film. First time I saw this movie was in IMAX, and it was unreal. Saw it in IMAX, and the screen was just, it was just so freaking perfect for this film. I felt like I was with Matthew McConaughey the entire time. I definitely was in awe with the ocean sequence. Y'all remember that sequence? It was great to see it in IMAX. Maybe the reason I like the movie so much is because I saw it in IMAX. However, I rewatched it at home, and it still holds up. I always break down and cry with that sequence with Matthew McConaughey, just like not knowing what to do about seeing his daughter grow up, and he's like missing all this, and it is so frustrating, but such a beautiful work of art. It is poetry in motion. The score is absolutely unreal, and I'm telling you, Interstellar is going to go down as one of Nolan's best movies once he hangs it up. So I'm putting Interstellar right at the top with the best of Nolan movies. It's just unparalleled. I mean, it is unlike anything he's done, I think. I mean, as we're going through this list, what else has he done that's been close to Interstellar? I think in terms of a space movie, it's my favorite space movie. I mean, What else? Okay, Star Wars, I get it, but I'm talking like Gravity and even 2001: A Space Odyssey. I think Interstellar is better than 2001: A Space Odyssey. I really do think Interstellar is just one of my favorite movies, if not one of the best that Nolan's ever done. So that leaves us with Dunkirk. No, guys, Dunkirk. There's this podcast that I listen to, the Real Blend podcast. Shout out to Kevin, Jake, and Sean. They're great. But at the end of every one of their podcasts, they try to end with Dunkirk. Sometimes they say it harmoniously and sometimes they don't, but it's absolutely hilarious every time. But every time they say it and they outro with it, I think about how much I didn't like this movie. I really didn't like Dunkirk at all, only for the fact that it was just loud for no good reason. And when I saw it, I wish I had earbuds because they were definitely cranking that up to 11. The movie has a story. A lot of people say it doesn't, but I do believe it has a story. It's just not strong. And I don't think I buy into any of the characters. There really isn't a main character. I would think sound design is more of a main character than anyone on screen. Harry Styles was pretty good, but other than that, I really do think Dunkirk is just not a great film at all. Do I appreciate the filmmaking aspect of this film? I do. I love that he recreated different ships and he was able to do everything on location for the most part. I know there's probably some CGI in there, but it did feel real, don't get me wrong. Dunkirk has really good cinematography, and I think the score by Hans Zimmer is great. Pause. Hans Zimmer and Christopher Nolan. Name me a better duo. Both of them are so good, guys, together. But honestly, yeah, no, I don't really care for this movie. I didn't think it was anything special, and a lot of people will defend this film. I've had some friends of mine tell me that this is his this pinnacle film. It's like the mountaintop for him, but no, I just don't think Dunkirk does anything outside of the box, and I left the movie wanting way more. So you're gonna be mad at me. I know you are, guys, but Dunkirk goes in the meh category for me. It's a movie that is totally forgettable. I haven't seen it again to this day. I just don't think it's worth it watching at home, to be honest with you. And it's a film that I could probably just have gone without seeing. If I had to like see every single Nolan movie except for one, it would be Dunkirk. Alrighty guys, so let's go ahead and review really quickly. Dunkirk is the only meh Christopher Nolan film. Then in the decent category you have Following, and in the good category, which is the most popular category it seems, I mean geez, 4 films, Insomnia, Batman Begins, The Prestige, and The Dark Knight Rises. Curious to see what you guys think about The Dark Knight Rises if I put it up too high. And then in the great category is Memento. Now that doesn't mean that's his only great film, because in the best category you have The Dark Knight, Interstellar, and Inception. Christopher Nolan is one of the best working filmmakers today. He is unreal at what he does, and this is not to say that any of his movies suck, to be honest with you. I mean, even the meh movie is better than some movies I've seen in that year, but I love Christopher Nolan. I don't think he's overrated. I hate that argument, to be honest with you. I think he's great, and I am just very happy with this list. So there you have it, guys. I want to know what your list looked like down below, so go ahead and get loud in the comments and like this video. Man, it's going to be fun to see where you guys put everything. And if you haven't already, guys, go ahead and hit the big red button below and subscribe to the channel and tap on that bell as well so you stay up to date with anything new that I'm dropping. Like I said, I'm dropping my Umbrella Academy review on July 27th. That's when the embargo lifts and I can finally talk about it with you guys. Also, I am going to put out a video this week about what I'm watching during quarantine. There's a lot, like Friday Night Lights, and I'm not going down the list. I'll save it for the video. Alrighty guys, again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you at the next screening.